Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello everyone, I'm Kiris. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, April 7th through Saturday, April 13th, 2024. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. This is it, everyone. The biggest event for 2024 has arrived, the April 8th total solar eclipse, and it's during the day. In April, the best view of the skies will be during broad daylight. We've never seen a total solar eclipse that will reach as many Americans as this one. This eclipse cuts a path through North America. Goes through Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, Maine, and into New Brunswick and Newfoundland. I strongly urge observers to travel this path, which is the only place you can truly witness the phenomenon of a total solar eclipse. A partial eclipse is not even close to a total solar eclipse. So why is April 8th and this total solar eclipse such a big deal? For starters, the moon will block the sun for over 4 minutes. 32 million Americans will be on the path of the eclipse. A total solar eclipse, this isn't going to happen again on U.S. soil, won't be until August 12th, 2045 in the USA. The total solar eclipse experience is at the very top of nature's most incredible celestial events that you can witness from Earth's surface. There's no experience like the total solar eclipse. Watching deep pink geysers of nuclear fire shoot from the sun's edge. This is not only an otherworldly experience, but an incredible cosmic coincidence. We have the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but also 400 times nearer to us here on Earth. This makes the only two disks in our sky appear to be the same size. It could not be the case if either were larger, smaller, nearer, or farther away. During the total solar eclipse, the moon completely blocks out the sun while it passes perfectly between the Earth and the sun. A shadow is cast onto the earth and the sky turns nearly as dark as night. This April 8th total eclipse should be the most watched total solar eclipse in history. It's exciting for school children and those that love astrology, science, and the cosmos as well. The moon will completely block out the sun for over 4 minutes in some areas. The maximum duration will be 4 minutes, 28 seconds. The sun exalted in the sign of Aries is in what's called its solar maximum, its traditional 11-year cycle, which is very active. Back in 2017, the sun was in a calm phase. People along the path of this totality eclipse will see the sun's corona, or outer atmospheric glow, which is usually not visible due to the sun's brightness. The corona forms delicate magnetic lines that leap across the sky, and they will see the pitch black new moon as it visibly moves in its orbit to intrude upon the sun. And then there are the prominences, those astounding pink flames as they fly up from the sun's edge. It's like nothing else. As the moon makes its final move across the sun, you may notice points of light around its perimeter. These are called Bailey's beads. These rays come from the sun, streaming through the valleys along the moon's horizon. When the totality of the eclipse begins, you now have about 4 minutes to observe the sun. Look for the corona, the sun's outer atmosphere, which forms a glowing ring of light that seems to be a black hole in the sky where the sun used to be. Also observe the inky black new moon. Listen to the animals around you and be sure to look closely around the black moon for the pink prominences, the glowing geysers of nuclear flame. Of course, have the protective glasses. I still have mine. I kept mine from the eclipse in 2017, which was incredible. And also, finally, beyond the mind-numbing natural phenomenon of the corona and the odd lighting, there's just this magical otherworldly feeling that it's simply just a powerful event to experience. Before the eclipse on April 8th, we start off the week Sunday morning with the thin crescent moon standing to the right of Venus early in the morning. This is a beautiful pairing, the moon with the Queen of Heaven, Venus. On April 10th, we see the yellowish-colored Saturn and reddish-colored Mars. They pair up and meet about 30 minutes before sunrise above the eastern horizon. In the evening, that bright star near the waxing crescent moon is Jupiter. Sunday, April 7th, we have the moon moving into cardinal fire, first sign of the zodiac, Aries. Now, the moon in Aries will make a conjunction to Venus in Aries. Venus in Aries is in her detriment. She's the furthest away from her natural home placement in the sign of Libra. This day before the new moon eclipse is the dark balsamic side of the moon. This is a very inner, reflective time before the new moon moment. With the moon conjunct Venus in Aries, this reflective, contemplative side of the moon, the dark balsamic, is the reflection, the thinking about if you are getting your needs met. And these are different things for different people as far as what it is that you want and need in a relationship. This is the emotions of the moon in Aries with Venus, which is love and marriage in Aries. And because Venus is in Aries and its detriment, this feeling of not getting your needs met, but wanting to get your needs met in the area of love and marriage is the dark balsamic moon phase. Because Aries wants to begin something new, it relates to springtime, the spring equinox, this desire and need to begin a new phase, a new chapter in your relationship. Within one marriage, there are many marriages, different chapters of life, endings and beginnings. The Moon-Venus conjunction in Aries is the cosmic energy of a certain time chapter in your marriage has come to a close, and now the wanting to start a new phase, a new time in the marriage is the Moon-Venus conjunction in Aries. And it can also be very exciting. Aries is fire, it's life, it's getting something very exciting back on track in your relationship that perhaps for whatever reason, life being life, has been put off to the side. So think of it as getting the fun, the excitement, the passion back into the relationship. Moon-Venus conjunction in Aries is the family that plays together stays together. Monday, April 8th, the solar eclipse, new moon, 19 degrees Aries. 19 degrees Aries is the exaltation degree of the sun exalted in Aries. This exaltation and exaltation degree is the confidence of Aries. No matter what sign of the zodiac you are, somewhere in your astrology chart, you have the sign of Aries on one of the 12 houses in your personal chart. So the passion, Aries, to begin something new, but also to have the courage, the confidence to be so caught up in the fire and illumination of life that you know you can't lose. You're going to go for it with the resilient heart of a child. For instance, let's say there was something in your childhood that for whatever reason you couldn't pursue it, you had to put it off to the side, and now this new childlike feeling of the sun exalted in Aries with the new moon is you finding out, exploring during the balsamic dark side of the moon of what it is that you've always wanted to try, something you've always wanted to do. This new moon exalted in Aries is you making the decision, the bold decision, because Aries is bold. It puts it all out there. You making the decision that yes, you're going to go back to something that you've always wanted to do, something you've always loved. That's the key. And for whatever reason, life being life, you had to put it off to the side. Maybe it was a difficult childhood, things of that nature where you just couldn't pursue what you love and have enthos, which in Greek means enthusiasm, spirit, enthos, enthusiasm. So that thing that just makes you feel so excited about life. This new moon in Aries and the exploration of what just gets you jazzed up. A dopamine, serotonin, natural chemical high. Aries rules the head. So this new moon in Aries is getting back to that and doing it because you love it. There isn't any end goal or agenda attached to it. Just like a child, when you see their natural enthusiasm and happiness when they're doing something that they love, it makes them sparkle and bright. This is the new moon in Aries, and you will find this. And somewhere in your astrology chart, you have Aries on one of the 12 houses. Meaning, somewhere in your life, there is an area of life where you want to bring back the excitement and the joy. Also on this magnificent day, we have the sun making a conjunction to Chiron in Aries. We've got the moon in Aries making conjunction to Mercury in Aries. So this is bringing into the awareness, bringing into the light of the sun what precisely needs to be healed from childhood, Chiron being the wounded healer, the place of our greatest woundedness, but also the place of our greatest healing. And with the moon conjunct Mercury, this is the emotional light, the emotional awareness of, yes, I see it now. This is what needs to take place to move forward. Aries in astrology is ruled by Mars. Now Mars, the lesser malefic, is a planet that cuts things away. Mars kills things. So when we look at Aries and Mars, we're looking at knives, weapons, things that remove certain things that have to go. For instance, if you've ever had an ant invasion in your house, one ant can turn into a swarm of ants very quickly. It needs to go. If there's been an infection, an illness, a cancer in the body, it's Mars that cuts that out. So when I'm using the phrase that Mars kills things, Mars takes things away for your protection, for life to move forward. Otherwise, life would not move forward if we didn't have Mars, Aries, Mars, cutting things away that are potentially not only harmful, but fatal. So, this new moon eclipse and this Aries lineup that we are in right now, ruled by Mars, is the awareness of where and what in your life needs to be removed because it's harmful now. It's potentially deadly now. This is physical, psychological, emotional, many different areas of life that is specific to you, of what needs to be removed and why we need Aries and the planet Mars. Because if it isn't removed, again, we're not moving forward, and it is potentially very harmful, to say the least. Mars in astrology gets a bad rap. It's called the bad guy, the lesser malefic. It takes things away. But think about it. If, for instance, there's a relationship or relationships in your life that have been harming you for a long time, a short time, it's the Mars energy factor that removes what is harmful to your life. Venus is in Aries now, her detriment, so this puts a very strong emphasis or highlight on what relationships in particular in your life need to be Mars removed at this time. And not just the love, marriage, romantic relationships, all relationships. When I counsel people as an astrologer, for the most part, their life is good. Life is good. It's wonderful. But it's the relationships. It seems to always be the relationships, for the most part, that get us into trouble, that cause a lot of upset and grief. So as we start off this week on Monday, April 8th, what is really highlighted along with the solar eclipse new moon is the relationships that have and are harmful and need to be removed at this time. It's necessary. Tuesday, April 9th, we've got the sun at 20 degrees Aries, the sun now entering the third division, the third decanate of the sign of Aries. This brings in a Sagittarius flavor, influence to the sun in Aries at that 20 degrees. Now the Sagittarius influence with the sun in Aries, Sagittarius is the sign of honesty, the truth, being a truth seeker. So the reality check, the truth, the honest assessment of what is going on in all of your relationships. The ninth brings in a reality check of it is what it is. You may have felt something, suspected that something was going on, but on this April 9th, with the moon entering her exaltation in the sign of Taurus, ruled by Venus, Taurus brings things down to earth, grounded in such a way that is common sense with the sign of Taurus. And so this Sagittarius influence to the 20 degree plus degree of Aries is the reality, the truth of just what really has been going on and the common sense need, because the moon exalted in Taurus is what we need in the sense of we all live in our emotional body. This is the moon. The connection to our emotional body, meaning you know how you feel your feelings, you're connected to your needs, meaning how to care for yourself, be good to yourself, self-love and nurturance. This moon exalted in Taurus, with the sun at this degree, with that Sagittarius influence of, yep, this is the truth of what has been happening and going on, and the need to make a common sense reality check decision is what's happening on April 9th with the moon in Taurus making a square to Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is the rebel. Aquarius is fixed air. Air being that cool, detached assessment of what really is going on. Pluto being the life, death, and rebirth, the transformation. There are and will be certain relationships that have to end at this time, which will be removed by the planetary ruler of Aries, which is Mars. Wednesday, April 10th, we have the moon still exalted in the sign of Taurus ruled by Venus, and the moon in Taurus makes a sextile aspect to Mars and Saturn in Pisces, a sextile being an aspect of favorable opportunity. Then the moon in Taurus makes a conjunction to Jupiter in Taurus ruled by Venus. Mars in Pisces makes a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces, and the moon in Taurus makes a conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. So what all of this blended together basically means is that what is it costing you financially to stay in certain relationships? Taurus, Earth, Venus, Jupiter, which is abundance and increase, Saturn, which is the reality check. Where in these relationships in your life, what is it costing you money-wise? When one person is carrying the financial burden, that burden obviously can take a toll on your psychological, physical, emotional health. The thing about the sign of Taurus, Taurus is fixed earth and so strong. And Taurus will get set on a path, a fixed path, where Taurus makes a commitment and keeps on going, fixed earth money sign of the zodiac, and is committed to achieving the goal, because once Taurus makes a commitment, then they see it through no matter what. And this Taurus factor involving Venus, Jupiter, Saturn. This day is, and we're right after the new moon, couple days-ish after the new moon, where we start to see that beautiful crescent new baby moon, where the potential, the decision to say enough is enough, which is not easy for Taurus, because once they set on a course, wherever this is in your life, you have Taurus on one of the 12 houses. When Taurus sets on a course, for Taurus to change that financial path is a very big deal. But this is the new moon phase of the moon exalted in Taurus, saying, I got the reality check of what this is costing me financially, money, in a relationship where one person is carrying the burden and the other person or people, this can also be a job situation. How many times have you heard of a job situation where one person will say, I'm doing all of the work, the other people aren't carrying their weight, they're not doing their job, or in a relationship, in a friendship, family. This is the reality check and also the opportunity, because there are some nice aspects and it is new moon phase to change the course and say enough is enough. I'm going in a different financial direction where one person has just been carrying the weight. And the thing about Taurus is that Taurus is so unflappable. Taurus wants peace And so they can put up with for way too long. And in this astrology and in this situation, carrying for way too long the financial burden. The moon conjunct Uranus is a separation, divorce aspect, because Uranus separates and it's sudden and it's abrupt. So this moon conjunct Uranus, last aspect of the day on April 10th, is just that sudden change of course where the moon in Taurus finally says, nope, not doing it anymore. It seems to come out of the blue. What the heck happened? It's all of a sudden Uranus in Taurus, but it is something that has been building. You can be rest assured when we're talking about Taurus, it is something that has been building for quite a while. And then the moon conjunct Uranus in Taurus finally says no more and makes a very abrupt 180 turn of course in a money situation. Thursday, April 11th, we have the moon moving into light, airy, mutable Gemini. This is a nice breath of fresh air. The moon in Gemini makes an air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius. This is where the emotions, the wanting change, wanting things to be lighter, makes an air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius, which is also an air sign. So this is the feeling of being excited about the changes, being very clear about the changes, having your emotions, your needs in harmony with what you're seeing very clearly, but also what needs to be released at this time. Nice aspect here to have the moon, which is also the subconscious imprints and drives, making an air trine flow to deep transformational Pluto in Aquarius. It's a feeling of yes, you're all in. You see it clearly now. You've made a very precise assessment and an objective assessment of how to negotiate certain deals that will be quite favorable in your life, because the moon in Gemini also makes a sextile aspect to Venus in Aries. Gemini is a very smooth, sophisticated sign of the zodiac. It knows how to communicate and negotiate. And think of it this way, with that moon sextile Venus, if you play your cards right, and you can, you win. In a lot of ways, astrology is like being dealt a hand of cards. Let's say you start off playing the game without the greatest hand of cards, but when and how you know how to play, you do achieve success. Friday, Venus's day, we still have the moon in cool, light Gemini, and the moon in Gemini makes square aspects to Saturn and Mars, greater and lesser malefics, in the sign of Pisces. Now we're looking at mutable elements, Gemini, Pisces, moving, changing, adapting, being flexible, going with the flow. The moon in Gemini also makes a sextile aspect to Chiron in Aries, Mercury in Aries, and the sun in Aries. So the squares prompt us to take action, meaning the square of the moon to Saturn and Mars prompts the action of how to maneuver around the blocks you feel you are facing. The Saturn and Mars saying no, but the moon in Gemini saying yes. There's always a way to make the changes and adapt to get things moving forward and not be blocked in your life. This is what we love about the mutables in astrology. The mutables being Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. These are the signs of the zodiac that won't hang in there way too long after the reality check has taken place. Like the fixed signs, they greatly resist changing course. But the mutables are lighter in the sense of, I see what it is and how do I make the adaptations to move forward. So that moon in Gemini on this Friday, April 12th, is saying, no, I'm not going to be blocked by Mars and Saturn in Pisces. Then the moon in Gemini with these nice sextile aspects of opportunity. This blending of air, Gemini, fire, Aries brings in that energy, we could say, the cosmic power that you have to not only move forward, but be very happy about the changes that are taking place. We are in new moon to second quarter moon, which always corresponds to springtime. It's all about bringing in the new, spring, fresh, exciting, new opportunities, a new outlook and perspective on life. That is always there from new moon time to second quarter moon. And the moon in Gemini making these aspects to the Aries lineup is a really good feeling about the newness and the new time chapter in your life. As we close out the week on April 13th, the moon changes signs and goes home to the sign of Cancer. Now, Cancer is very sensitive, intuitive. The moon, psychic. The moon in Cancer is that comfort of the familiar, home and family. It's self-care at its best. The moon in Cancer is very much being in touch and connected to how you feel, what you need. Feel your feelings. The moon is the baby, but the moon is also the nurturing mom. So as we progress in life, one of the things we can learn, irrespective of the childhood, is to be a great parent to ourselves, to be a great nurturing mom to yourself. No matter what happened in childhood, the moon going home to Cancer after this deeply profound week is the moon saying, no matter what happens, you're going to be a great nurturing parent to yourself, to your inner child that is always there, and after this week needs that emotional self-care. This is an emotional week on so many levels, because when we see something like an eclipse that connects us to forces that are beyond our control and so big, this does bring up a lot of feeling and emotion in people when they see with their own eyes, just like in ancient times. When people see with their own eyes, there is a bigger cosmic power that you are a part of and connected to. So as we close out this week, Saturday and Sunday, the moon at home in Cancer is be really good to yourself, always, of course, but the moon in Cancer is paying extra attention to that soft side, vulnerable side that is with you always and needs the reassurance that all is well, you are safe, things have a way of working out, and they always do. And most importantly, that you are loved. Do not waste your life believing that you are not loved. You are loved more than you could possibly ever know. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you all in the stars.